Hello guys, welcome back to the channel once again. Today I'm super mega excited to be sharing this video with you guys because I really want to speak about Elizabeth and Robin's relationship on this amazing movie that I actually watched very recently. But before we get into further details, please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and let's get right into it.
And you'll have to live with that.
It's not easy having to work with the responsibility of life.
So basically, the movie follows Elizabeth, who is a very successful, surgeon. She's one of the most, prestigious doctors at this very specific hospital. But unfortunately, you can actually see at the beginning of the movie, she suffers from exhaustion. She's always tired, even though she saves lives and she's very good at it. At some point, I feel like her whole career as a surgeon is just taking a toll on her physically, but that's not actually what the situation actually ends up being. It's that, Elizabeth, she was appointed to a patient which was going through a severe health situation. So, Elizabeth, as a doctor, has decided to operate on this lady, but unfortunately, things didn't go as because, she was actually training a young upcoming doctor who was her, in this case, her trainer. She was this young boy's trainer to become a doctor just to give him practice and be under her supervision. So while she was doing the operation on the young lady, which parents were very anxious to see the results of this whole operation, while they were in the operating room, basically Elizabeth went through the whole process with of course, with her whole team, and basically told them, hey, okay, we're gonna do this and this and this and this. And after that, during the surgery, she has decided to give, her trainer, this young doctor in this case, the opportunity to go ahead and operate as well. But unfortunately, because of this situation, there was a complication during the surgery, and due to that and other reasons as well, the young lady actually ends up passing away, which is very unfortunate. So after that whole situation, she thought everything was gonna be okay. It happens, complications during surgery happens. It could have been something else that, led the girl to pass away. But later on, of course, the parents of the young lady who passed away wasn't happy with the explanation that Elizabeth gave them. She wasn't happy on how Elizabeth handled the whole situation. So they basically have decided to seek for more answers. And of course, that actually ends up affecting, Elizabeth's career a lot. So how does Robin come in the picture? Robin actually works with Elizabeth. She's a nurse in this case. So she was also in the operating room when everything happened. She was the nurse. There was other doctors as well, and of course Elizabeth as well. So she actually saw everything going on and how everything happened. And of course, she knows that Elizabeth is a good doctor, but she also doesn't want to lose her career and what she has going on for herself. Even though they are together, they still wants to keep their relationship low key and not, let their work, basically come in between their relationship. So they try their best to keep things separate. But when, of course, Robin was also questioned about the surgery and what went on, because the family wants more answers, Robin starts to have a little bit of a cold feet when it comes to Elizabeth because she wasn't, appreciating the arrogance that, Elizabeth was handling the situation, especially because there is someone who actually lost their life in it. And it actually took Elizabeth a while to realize that, even though she is right, that it wasn't her fault, it was just a complication that happened and it's just something that isn't in her control. I feel like the way she handled the situation was pretty, making her feel guilty, making her look guilty in this case. So as the movie progresses, you can actually see that Robin, in this case, she decides to pull a little bit back from Elizabeth because, like I said, she didn't want to lose her career. She just felt like Elizabeth needed to be alone for a while to figure out her stuff. Robin was also starting to feeling suffocated because she was being attached to Elizabeth more because of this whole case, and she just needed some space for herself as well. So they actually end up parting ways and kind of breaking up. But that breakup didn't last very long because the guy that actually did the operation with Elizabeth, her trainer in this case, her trainee in this case, actually ends up taking his own life away, and that obviously put Elizabeth in a very hard condition because he actually called her various times before he did what he did. But Elizabeth, she was going through her own mental situation where she just needed a break from everything and just disconnecting. And at that very moment, she also found out that she lost a dog that she was taking care of, also because of a situation that she caused as well. So she was just going through a lot. So when the guy called her, she didn't answer, and when she found out where he was, she went to look for him, and she found him in that conditions. And after that, her whole life changed. Everything just changed for her completely. But Robin came back in the picture. Robin came back in the picture to support her, to be there for her, to make sure she's okay, because Robin was starting to see that there was a very, very big emotional switch towards Elizabeth. She was just literally mentally just going through it, and Robin was like, okay, I'm gonna be here for you, I'm gonna support you through this difficult time, whatever you need, I'm here for you, basically. So later on, as the movie progresses, you can basically see that the owner of the hospital, or the manager of the hospital, basically confronted Elizabeth and basically had this whole play out on how they should handle this situation, because Elizabeth was actually suspended until further notice due to the whole operation thing that happened with the girl, on the parents wanting answers. So that whole thing basically put her career also in jeopardy, because she wasn't able to operate, she was suspended, and then she lost the dog, she lost her partner, she lost the guy that she was training, the young resident. So it was just a lot going on. So later on, the hospital have decided to basically stop her suspension and make her come back to the hospital after all of that had happened. And basically they had this whole rollout on how the situation needed to be handled regarding the boy's passing, because the boy was part of the hospital, he was a resident there. And Elizabeth wasn't very concerned on the way they have decided to handle it. So the hospital that actually had this whole speech in front of the crew, to explain everything that happened, and basically ensuring that, they're going to make sure that everybody at the hospital, doesn't, go through what the boy had through, to take them to lead them to what led the boy to doing what he did. But, there was just something about it that Elizabeth wasn't seeming right for her. She was like, it's not right. That's not exactly what happened. I need to tell the full story. And that's exactly what she did. She confronted during the speech, in this case, the manager of the hospital, and gave the whole truth about the whole situation with the boy. And yes, and not the boy, the man in this case. And after that, everything went the way it went. And then, Elizabeth took upon her to go to the parents' house of the young lady that passed away, to basically tell them the whole truth, finally, the whole truth, without being arrogant, without just saying to say, but actually let them know what really happened. And then after that, the parents could have finally gotten their closure, because basically Elizabeth told them, even if she wouldn't have had the operation, even though if she wouldn't have had complications during the operation or after the operation, some way, somehow, your daughter would have passed away, because her situation was critical. She needed to be operated. And, she just finally gave them the explanation that they wanted from the very beginning, to avoid this whole situation to happen. Regarding her and Robin, you can clearly see that they came back together, but I'm not 100% sure they came back together as partners. But I can definitely say that they have decided to rebuild the type of relationship, because after that, I didn't see them spending time together after Elizabeth had the whole conversation with, of course, with the parents of the young girl. So maybe they did get back together, or maybe they didn't. They didn't really showcase that, but I will highly recommend you also watch the movie, and the movie is called The Mistake. The Mistake. The Mistake. Very, very good movie. I will highly recommend anybody to go watch it. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and goodbye.